Gaia is here. We can feel her presence as we started by calling in our guides, Jesus, the Ascended Masters, and this is what happens every time we connect with them. They show up. Why? So, a big part of my life I did not feel them. And I did, but I couldn't tell the difference between that and other thoughts and projections of others. So I hadn't made sense of this environment. And so, who nudged me? It was Gaia. Who is Gaia? It is the ricochet of your guides, of you, your soul, sort of ricocheting in your field because of where you're at and because that you are here. And that nudge, that things can be different, that there's something missing, or it's like, is this it? You know, there's a lot of feelings, thoughts that tell you actually that no, this is not all there is. And you can tell by your feelings. But it's not easy when you're there and when you don't have any experience through the body to convince anyone that there is something after or other than. So and we have experienced so much deepening because of how we maneuvered our own healing journey after this initiatory experience that was very, very helpful in our soul's evolution. Because it is that you are being asked all the time to step into the version of you that life is calling you forward. And it could be years of manifestation. What we are experiencing now, we manifested when we were a little kid, a teenager. We just didn't know how we could make it happen from that perspective. We've tried the best that we could with thinking. And nowadays people are so afraid if you're saying something that will flip them off because they're so used to taking sort of commands from beings outside. You're not supposed to operate like that. And sometimes it's just the most natural thing, you don't even think about it. We went, 40 years, operating like that. And we know so many beings are still operating like that. And what this is that we are providing is something very unique. People don't even get what we're doing. And we get that. But we are following this stream of consciousness that is running through us that is more powerful because we have given it power and not everything else outside. We are following our inner stream, our inner God-driven, and we know what our North Star is. Maybe not right there and then, but Gaia has shown us how to read her, how this whole thing operates. But for that, we have to be conscious in our body as a soul in order to translate all of this. This is what we've been doing, and we're still translating even more. Because that's where the information is, that's where the truth is. Truth can only be found through the body, from the inside. And that's the reversal that this initiatory experience was for us. It was the conscious awareness of something different. We knew that something was different. We were just following our body. Unconscious competence, we had a lot of that in a dualistic perspective, not knowing exactly why we were doing a lot of the things that we were doing, just channeling basically. So we have been highly misunderstood by people. I mean, it's like we didn't even know. There was no one that explained to us how this whole thing fit together. Especially not when we are all psychic. We all have access to other consciousness. The question is, have you shut yourself off from it, or are you open to it? It's a lot of small micro changes that we are undergoing in this ascension program that will take you there. That's the whole purpose. We're here to elevate and to bring calibration into the human system so that higher intelligence can land truly through the body and be operating through a much wider perspective, which in turn allows for more energy, which in turn allows for more healing, vitality, and manifestations to happen in this world. We're not here to escape, then you have no power here. You're here to learn how to operate these magnificent bodies that we have. That's the purpose here. And you are all on that journey, whether you want to admit it or not, whether you want to think something else or not. It is the same as the first section of A Course in Miracles, that you don't get to decide the curriculum. You know? You can take whatever you want to learn at any given time. Like, you can take as much time as you want. But it doesn't mean that you can dictate what you should learn or shouldn't learn. There is a very specific purpose here as a soul that you are to develop your body. And it's mastery, self-mastery, mastering your emotions. That does not mean to sort of combat anger with anger and get everything like to obey you. Like, that's control. That's control. That doesn't work. That's the frequency that's dying. But it takes a while, because you have to let it die inside of you and have it ripple outside, meaning you have to let the relationship die that do not want to follow you. Gaia confirming. And you have to decide. Do you want to step into the new? Or do you want to stay with the old habits? First you have to be introduced to something new, and then you have to practice it to be good at it. It is just like anything. All of this can be trained, and this is why we are training every single day. It is through these 28-day consciousness shifts that we are guiding the energy, and for the knower to comprehend more, to land deeper, in order to bring more light to many different situations. But for some, that might be a little bit too fast to jump into every single day, because there are momentum in other areas. We totally get that. And that's why we want to give you an entry point, which is called Hey Alive. They are every single week we meet online and we shift. This is the practice that we are using most of the time to clear energy and to connect with higher intelligence. And so that is what that is what these flies are just like, yeah. Yeah, there is that, you know, learning what these things mean, learning to read what something like that means in your field. What are you susceptible to? Small annoyances, right? These are signs from Gaia, all of these things. And so we get it. We are being called to a completely different set point of how to operate as a human being. And we have been on this journey for a while, and we keep going, because the shift is not instantaneous. It is lots of micro, like we mentioned. And so all of them together, you will have these quantum shifts eventually that will be seen. But you have to start where you're at, always. You have to start exactly where you're at. And for that, truth is needed. Where are you really in frequency? Where are you truly at? Are you fooling yourself? A lot of beings are. So it is about recognizing the truth. And maintaining or injecting habits that are balancing out this alignment. That is what we do. This is our practice. This is what we have seen makes the most amount of progress of us being in the flow of life, is to follow this system. And if you want to start with us, you're more than welcome. We have links somewhere, at the very least in the bio, where you can find ways to connect with us. All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you again in the next one. You are so blessed, and we have so much to look forward to. Just listen to this.